the native people or the indigenous people of this part of the world, are in a really unique position. And that unique position is offering a leadership that comes with a vision that is inclusive to all people, that invites people that have arrived on our homeland to be a part of fulfilling the vision of our great Creator, and that's to bring love into this world.
IPCA's Indigenous Protected and Conserved Areas are a tool that's available for Indigenous governments, for Indigenous nations to forward their own biodiversity protection and promotion objectives.
With what ICE is doing right now and Canada Target 1, it's for our advantage to utilize this opportunity to protect these areas for the betterment of the future and the next 7 generations, but also for all of Canada as a whole.
We talk about reconciliation in this country. Well, now we have an opportunity to do that. We have an opportunity to start building bridges. And, conservation and protected areas might be a very good start, because that is the basis of our existence. Not only Indigenous people, but everybody that lives in this country. The land is the basis. The land is what gives life.
I think we're past the being advisory roles. We now need to be in the management and the authority positions. Like, it's time now that we work together. It's just time. We need to preserve the woods, we need to preserve our animals, and we need to preserve our way of life. So it isn't only about us as people, it's about the world, it's about the animals, it's about everybody.
It's not just going to benefit Indigenous governments and communities that are creating these places, but it's going to set the stage for collaborations that will benefit all Canadians. And I think that by supporting a stronger role and connection between Indigenous communities and their lands, that's going to result in benefits that will extend to all Canadians.
Before colonization, 100% of our country was in a custodial relationship with Indigenous peoples, and you could have said we had 100% conservation happening here in Canada.
What good are rights if we have nothing to hunt in the future? So if there's not going to be any moose, there's no point in having lands and rights. So we need to make sure that balance is there.
How can I help in this process? And to take part in that change, it is exciting. To be able to sit in a room where there's people from different sectors of government departments, and to be able to have this dialogue.
Now's the time to move. Now's the time to be active. And we're always reactionary. We have to be proactive sometimes, and I think this is an opportunity to have a say. So, I'm glad that it's happening.
ICE is a body that's going to help Canada in its goal to achieve greater protection of its lands. We want to go from what we currently have, around 10.6% of Canada's land mass, towards a goal of 17% by 2020. It's an ambitious goal, but I think it's one that for me, it seems that Canada is very committed to.
It would be very quick to reach our 17% terrestrially and 10% in the marine. It would be extremely fast to achieve those targets if those relationships and that reconciliation between Indigenous peoples and the Crown allowed for that appropriate recognition of the responsibility that these nations want to take for those areas in their territories that they have always had as their homelands.
To have reconciliation be successful, we can't keep looking at it with the same dysfunctional worldview of disconnectedness. We have to embrace Indigenous worldviews, Indigenous paradigms of relationship and interconnectedness. So reconciliation between humanity and the rest of creation is a key aspect of the dialogue that's emerged, and reconciliation between various Indigenous peoples themselves.
There's still some distance between Métis and First Nations, particularly, and I think that's a lot of misunderstanding about the role that each of us played in the making up of this country. I think the main message that people are understanding from this session, some of the people that I've talked to, is that we have to respect each other's sovereignty.
We don't have time. We're facing extreme climate change in many areas in this country. And if we don't take those steps now to protect some of our sacred places, then it's going to be lost.
We can't just change the colonial legislation for this initiative. We have to come up with something more creative, with more commitment, something brand new, a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things.
In protecting our lands and protecting our territories, we're also finding ways that we can participate in the economy of this country in ways that we weren't allowed to in the past.
We need to keep this fire going. We're going to have a report, but what's the next step? We need to continue this work. So this is the first phase. We're trying to come up with a common goal, and that's not that can fit any type of scenario in any type of region, any type of level of governance that Indigenous groups have. This is something that's going to keep on going.
If we do not take care of the earth, then we will not survive. That's why the leadership of Indigenous people is absolutely paramount in terms of coming to terms with the way that we are treating the earth.